Well, you know, as sure as is that up or is that down? As sure as you're going live, you're gonna wind up with some minor technical difficulties, right? Let me see here. Let me get over here. Waiting for me. Oh, it's waiting for me. Here I come. Here we go. I put that on pause. Hello, good people. Hi, it's Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. That means it's time for another live stream. Of course, I am Jason with Green Country Agroforestry. If you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Well then, how's everybody doing out there tonight? See, Brian says, quack, quack, the sacred riparian zone DNR conservation officer once told me that people fill and pay the fine instead of get permit, which is just impossible. People filling in those inland waterways and habitat for migrating waterfowl. What is it, Kitty? I know I fed you. What do you want? You know I'm going live, so you want the attention. She wants the attention. I fed her. I put food out for her. What? I put food out for you. Look at this. Kitties. Sasspress Red says, good evening. Mary says, I'll be driving. And Sasspress said, trailer frame is gone. Is gone. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I need to watch your videos to find out what's going on there. So people, you need to tune in, watch Sasspress Red, find out what he's talking about with trailer frame being gone. Oh yeah. We'll do a little bit of making some noise here for a minute because that drives the kitty away. All right, so Barry says I will be driving, so I won't be able to make the show. Don't you know? All right. Well, good evening, people. I actually do have sort of a new song that I'm working on, but I won't unload that on you just this minute. Oh yeah, let me get some arrangements here. Okay, it's a good thing, he says, because now the real work begins, turning dirt into soil. That's awesome. Awesome. And like I said, I'm going to catch up on your videos and your progress out there. Sasspress Red, if you guys don't know, has been working quite hard on developing a good-sized food force up in Illinois. I wonder if you have some of these out there. Just oh my goodness, you can't see that, can you? Let me change this this virtual background. Just turn it off for a moment. There we go. Here we go. I was going to say, I wonder if you guys have any of these out there. Yeah, I want you to take a look at this. This, can you see the sort of green water in the glass there? So this was just regular water. It didn't have anything special in it. But I had these Murasaki purple sweet potatoes, and I had one kind of snap off, and it didn't have any roots when I was getting my slips off. This one didn't have any roots, so I said, okay, fine. You don't have any roots. I'll just put you down here in this water and you'll root them. If you guys haven't watched the videos on doing sweet potatoes and getting things to root, practicing getting your vegetables to root, getting cuttings to root, use sweet potatoes for practice because it's almost impossible to not get a sweet potato to root. But anyway, there's algae in this jar, and this is just regular old what was drifting through the air algae. I don't know what's up with that, but it's pretty basic stuff. Now this stuff we've got in this jar here, this is some special algae. I don't know. Do I need to get a light on underneath it or something? Light it up. Here we go. All right, there we go. So this is the special stuff here. Maybe that's too much light. Ooh, that's too bright. All right, let's try. Oh, now try to get this to the point where you can see it without it being too bright. It might just be too bright. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to shine the light in here from the side. You can see we've got some stuff floating around in here. All right. Somewhere in here, Mary says she saw an aquatic snail floating around. Oh, it's up here on the, it's right there on the side, cleaning some algae off the side. So yeah, I see it. Yeah, there's a snail in there. There's I can see those little tiny aquatic insects, little water fleas and stuff like that in there. And of course, there's that thread algae. And some kind of a moss, some sort of aquatic moss in there. Okay, so we've got this stuff, and unfortunately I don't have a microscope at the moment to show it to you. Eventually we'll probably spring for a microscope. We get the cash together, right, to get a decent one. I think 50, 60, maybe $70 for a halfway decent one that I can slap a camera on. They're not that expensive now. I mean, the one that I had when I was a kid was kind of pricey. That was a $500 microscope, but anyway. I've had special water before. It was gone for days. It's like the beginning of every other creepy pasta. Yeah, I didn't realize some of this stuff I didn't realize was in here. But the idea was we were going to go out, and we did. We went up to Turkey Mountain again, the Turkey Mountain Wilderness Reserve over here in Tulsa, or just on the outskirts of Tulsa. Headed up there. It's not, I don't know what the designation is for it. It's not really Parks Department. It's just, I guess somebody takes care of it. It's just there. County Parks Department, I think, takes care of it. In any case, we went up there to get a sample of water from some of the ponds up there. And the reason we got the sample of water is because we wanted to start up some aquatics, beginning with some freshwater shrimp, and eventually possibly branching out to mosquito fish and some kind of good eaten size fish that we can move up to one of these ponds up in the front yard, which I haven't built yet, of course. I haven't built the duck pond in the back. I haven't built the fish pond up front. We got another pond plan, which is kind of like a frog pond area in the front. And I think I'm going to put another tiny one over here where the eaves come off of the north side of the house. I might put a small one in there. I was working on the overflow catchment and channels there for irrigation along there earlier today, is where I spent all the day. I thought it was going to be just sort of a real quick wham bam, thank you. We're going to be done with this sort of proposition. Let me switch this virtual background back on. I thought it was going to be done really quick, is what I'm trying to say. Putting the trench line along just a little bit away from the eaves of the house, and the spot where all the water comes down, making it so the water will go into that, fill that up. It's filled with wood chips so that they don't, so the trench doesn't collapse, and it holds the water there, and it'll eventually shunt that off to the little area out in front where we've got the grape arbor and everything else. So keeping the water in the soil and making it work is part of the plan. Anyway, I thought I was just going to knock it out really quick, plant some candle lilies, and be done. But I discovered it was going to be an all-day operation. So today we worked on the north side of the house, and I got another dozen candle lilies planted out there. Of course, spaced out. That means 30 days worth of food. 30 days worth of calories, although chances are we're probably not going to eat nothing but cannas for those 30 days. That'll probably be about a third of the diet, which means effectively 90 days worth of my resistant starch right there for a strip that I didn't realize I was going to plant until today. So it's just a little bit more stuff. Cat, I don't know why you're over here. I put food out for you just so that you could go eat. Go eat something. Oh my goodness. We got a picky cat, or an attention starved kitty. All right. So I've been working on that all day, and came in here, and I'd had plans to maybe possibly set up a cable back to the back room where the ducks are, so you could watch the ducks live. But hey, you know what? I ran it short on time, so I'm going to have to show you some canned footage of the ducks. I hope that's okay. I've also got canned footage of our little trip up there to the mountain to pick up this stuff. Oh, wow, look. It's the invisible liquid. Isn't that cool? All right. So picked up the invisible liquid. Hello, Vicky. Vicky's saying this is a premium example of the biodiversity of edges. Tell you what, I'm trying to put as many edges together as possible in all areas. So we'll go from one to another to another to another. If I can get more surface water, more pools, more riparian stuff, the better. Because every time you transition from one environment to another, you have an exchange of energy. Whenever there's an exchange of energy, you're going to have creatures coming in. Vicky says, I think we just got some canna lilies. Would you like for me to send you a sample for your biodiversity of varieties? Give me a description of what they're like first, but what they're like before you send them, because I may have a ton of them already. At the moment, it's turning into a survival of the fittest situation. I've got about every area that I can planted with something, and I'm still finding new places to plant things, of course. So I've got 4 or 5 different varieties at the moment that I'm trying out. So if you can tell me what they look like after they flower and what kind of roots they have, then I'll be able to tell you whether I'd like them or not. But if I already have that particular variety, so there's no point in having more of them. So let me see here. I was going to do some shares, do some video share a video file with you. Let me see here. I think we're in new folder number 2. Let's see, I've got one where I'm talking about planting cannas. I don't think we're going to do that. Oh, that's when I harvested some wine cap mushrooms. Would you guys like to see some wine cap mushrooms before we jump into the fun stuff with the duckies? Let me just. Okay, I've got volume. All right, can you guys hear that okay? I don't even know if I can hear it.
I think I need to build some kind of shield to shelter my camera from the rain and the wind and stuff like that. What do you think? Some sort of a moved over there. As long as the
Okay, yeah. So I had this fun day the other morning. Very fun day. I got out there and got ready to start shooting, and the wind was blowing and it was raining off and on. And I thought, you know what, I need to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to run into trouble here. I'm going to get my camera wet. The wind's going to be blowing in the microphone. Nobody's going to be able to hear a darn thing, and that would be unfortunate. So I started building this little shield out of an old bucket. Just cut the back of it out so I could slide it over the top of the camera, and then afterwards we kind of fitted it on there. Went back, shot a little video there. It was okay. It didn't totally stop the noise, but let's see. You might be able to hear a little bit of that. The wind chime is right above there. All right. Katie Moyer's in the house. Hello. Justice is his daughter's name.
Right. So if you
and Hattie Garden says hello.
Canna roots, sorry. So if you purchase canna roots from one of these less reputable nurseries, you might get something that's about the size of my little finger. That's because in the nursery setting, they grow them in pots so they can have a whole bunch to sell. You put them out in your yard. This is small. So you know, this is a small root. The parent plant this came off of after one season of growth had 20 pounds of roots.
Okay, just incidentally, that one there is a Canna indica. We will have them on sale at the website come fall when I begin digging them up. And of course, if you're going to keep them over winter, you'll need to pack them in peat moss. That's all I'm saying. We'll have them on sale come fall, and they'll probably be about that size, about half the size of my fist when we ship them out, as opposed to the size of your finger. Now, you can plant them the size of your finger, and they'll grow huge. Just letting you know, but I probably won't ship any of that tiny.
So, lots and lots of food. Now, this root, I'll show you the outside of it. Have a good look here. This root here, purplish skin, is kind of tough. The gophers don't want to eat this. At least they haven't so far. Maybe if they get hungry enough, they will. But so far, this has been gopher proof. This was probably about 3/4 of a pound. Now, after you knock the stem off, the roots off, throw this into a pot of boiling water. Boil it, simmer it for about 45 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes, and then you can simply cut the root in half after it cools and peel that tough skin off. Now, the inside of this, which is still about a good 85 or 90% of the root, is going to be a slightly fibrous, starchy mass. And by slightly fibrous, I don't mean it's like biting the strings out of celery. I mean, it just has some substance to it is all. It'll sit on your stomach and fill you up good, high in calories. I would say equivalent to a potato, but I think actually this has got a bit more calorie value than potatoes. This is Canna indica, and it is a relative. Oh, the leaves are going to turn a darker purple as it gets a little bit older. Right now, it's been in the dark. So
I distracted myself there. I was going to say it's a relative of ginger. It's a member of the same family as Zingiber officinalis, the ginger plant. So it has some similar growing characteristics, similar growth range. You can grow it up here in the northern hemisphere without any problem. You just need to bring it indoors if you're like zone 6 north or so, and put them in peat moss so they don't dry out. And then in the springtime, when everything starts waking up, take those guys out, throw them in the ground, and get them started growing. Yeah, How to Garden says my cannas are already growing. They take off and they grow really well, guys, and they're related to ginger. So that's the little thing that I forgot to say there.
So it didn't have a whole lot of pigmentation. All right, Canna indica, wonderful plant. You get this planted in the ground, you forget about it at the end of the season, you dig it up, and you've got food for about 2 or 3 days worth of calories right out of about 2 foot by 2 foot area. In the meantime, it's a pretty plant, lots of biomass. You can chop and drop it for that if you need to. These leaves, perfect substitute for paper plates. You can probably wrap and cook food in them, sort of Hawaiian tea leaf style. I can't say enough good things about this. It's an excellent crop to grow. All right. So anyway, we got a whole bunch of those here on the side here. These are going to be the Canna indica, like this one here. Over here on my right, I have another Canna coming up around this tree.
All right, can't hear me over there. I'm gonna have to amplify the volume and do something about that train noise, or maybe talk over it. Who knows? Anyway, just giving you a quick layout of what we got going on in the front yard garden area there, and a little bit later on, I'm gonna switch over to the porch where we got some activity going on here. What is that? Here we go.
Pardon me, this is some podunk, pointless gadget that Mary bought. Okay, so here we go. What we have here is the crop that I just pulled out. This wasn't this morning, it was yesterday morning. I picked up a couple more today, but as you can tell, they start drying pretty quick. These are wine cap mushrooms, King Stropharia or Stropharia rugosa annulata. It's called Stropharia rugosa annulata because of the annulus, or the ring, that you see breaking away from the gill cap right there. So this annulus will break away. Whenever it first starts out, the gills are going to be a bit whitish, but as they mature, let me show you a little bit more mature one here. Oh, this one will probably do. Well, as they mature, you'll see that the gills turn a purplish color, and the spore print for this mushroom is purple. You see something that looks like this, it doesn't produce a purple spore print, it's not King Stropharia. All right, down here at the bottom, you have no basal cup. Another look at one that's still got the mycelium there. No basal cup down there. And this one, the annulus is torn away. Same thing here. The annulus is almost completely gone here. You just got a tiny little fragment of it left. All right. But these things will get big. They'll get the size of a dinner plate if you let them. They're better tasting when they're small and button size. Something more about, about here. This is whenever they're the tastiest. Of course, when they're smaller size, the gills may not have developed that distinctive purple shade yet. So you have to keep your eyes open. You might see some that are in an area that have a little bit different lighter cap and no purple gills, but they still have the distinctive annulus and no basal cup. They're growing with other King Stropharia. A good chance it is probably King Stropharia. But in all cases, if you're looking at a mushroom, you don't know what it is, you can't properly identify it, don't eat it. All right? So we got to clean these guys up. I'm going to show you how we go about doing that real quick. I'm going to separate this part here at the bottom, the base, so we just have a little bit of stem. We'll wash these up. We'll get ready to use them. This part here where the mycelium is at the stem, we're going to go ahead and put that back out in the garden in the hopes that we'll continue to get more mycelium runs, more blooms, more stuff out of them. All right? Okay, here we go.
All right, now right about this time, let me go back to the full view. So right about this time, when I was at this point, and I was kind of showing you, getting ready to start doing the prep work. I'm preparing these wine cap mushrooms. Right about this time, the neighbor drives by and honks the horn. He's come back from a farmer's market out in Peru, which is a little ways away from here, and he had been up there looking for some ducklings. He had heard that there was a guy that was selling these Khaki Campbell ducklings. He had apparently got a whole bunch that his ducks attached that they'd laid their eggs, and he decided to throw them on the incubator. They'd all hatched out, so it was a whole bunch of straight run Khaki Campbells, probably a 50-50 mix of males, females. Great, because if you just go and get them from the box store, somebody's already sexed them, and your chances are you're going to get mostly drakes. So good chance that we'd have an even distribution of drakes to hens. And we wanted to add a couple of hen ducks to the garden because, well, I use a lot of wood chips, and wood chips are great for attracting woodlouse and slugs and snails and all kinds of wonderful stuff like that. And the robins do love it, and they clean up. And if I can get the bluebirds attracted, I think I may have to grow some more moss to attract the bluebirds because they kind of need that the bluebird, like nesting in tree type thrush, not ground thrush, but bluebird nesting in a tree thrush. They want moss to build their nests with, and I don't have a lot of moss. So anyway, what? Okay. Anyway, get on down. Yeah. Let's see. Duck feathers are also great for the other birds to build their nests out of. I know they like those things. They like to pick them up, stuff them in their nests. Duck feathers, goose feathers, whatever you happen to have. 2 ducks, I figured, would be sufficient to patrol the yard and take care of the slugs and the snails for us. So I told him, yeah, I'd like to get a couple of ducks. Does he have any idea whether they're going to be males, females, or what? He said, nah, he's got no idea. He just hatched them out, and they are what they are. So we got 2, and hopefully it's at least 1 drake and 1 hen. So anyhow, let me go ahead and remove that thing. And we're going to go to a different video. So right after this, I was getting ready to go back and work on those mushrooms. And these little peepers showed up. And let me see if we've got some. I think it's still in the camera. I've got the outside footage from whenever.
All right now, well, we are joined in the studio today by 6 young goslings. Oh, say hello.
Ducklings, not goslings.
And since the battery died on my tuner, I have no idea if this guitar is in tune or not, but I guess it's close enough, right? G sounds like a G, A sounds like an A, C sounds like a C, D sounds like a G.
Okay. So I was trying to work out a song there. Yeah, trying to come up with a song for these ducklings. So we have of course just left the camera running there while I had the 6 in there. The dog's attention's on it. Eyes on the road, Mary. Eyes on the road. All right. So the neighbor came by. He said, "Hey, I got 6." He only got 2 for me. So he said, but I got 6. But my brother's got a broken arm and he's going to need me to come and help him out. And so I've got to take off for a while. Do you mind watching the rest of the ducklings? I was like, okay, well, I hadn't really planned on having 6 ducklings in the house, but okay. So I got this little kiddie pool here and got it set up. And of course, one of the first things I noticed is some of these ducklings, they're a little bit adventurous. They want to try to figure out how to break out of the pool. And putting that little, what was that thing? The clothes hamper lid up there at the edge, close to the exit to the room, sort of discouraged them from jumping up and out eventually. They kind of like to take shelter under that thing. Of course, I still had some more running around to do. I had to go find the heat lamp and some other stuff. I had some duck feed that I needed to crush up and give to them. But I gave them a little bit of that corn chops and fancy scratch that I had for birdseed. And then hours and hours and hours later, hours and hours later, hello Scarecrow. Hours and hours later, went back there and managed to deliver the remainder of the ducklings, the 4 of them that were left, to back to the neighbor because he got done helping his brother out. Plan on more than mower repair vids. That's good. That's good. Of course, stuff like the mower repair vids that you're doing over there are good stuff too. Even if somebody's never going to repair their own mower, just putting the idea in their head that, hey, you can get something that needs to be fixed and fix it up instead of considering yourself ineligible for being able to get some piece of equipment simply because you can't afford the new thing. You can always get the used thing and fix it up.
Ducklings. Hi. Are we all together here in the space where we're supposed to be? Yes, this is good. Yeah. Are you about ready for some fresh water? I'm thinking fresh water would be good for you, huh? I'm going to swap this out. Don't worry, I'll be back with more presently. Alright, let's see how they react. Will they be zen ducks or will they panic?
There's no water. What do we do? There's no water. Alright, so we got in some more water. They went right into it, of course. As to be expected. Of course, you notice it's getting a little bit darker in that room. I'm going to click ahead a bit more, a bit more. It gets darker and darker. Oh, this is the next day. No, I turned the light on. That's what.
This wire here. So it'll be this wire here. We're going to bind it with this stuff. I'm going to put it around the outside of your pen, and you're going to chill out. I'm going to go try to cut this out to the right size. I have a kiddie pool of this size outside, so I'll go ahead and fit this now and carry on, little ducklings.
All right, so that was the first, that was the first little duckling video I threw together. Obviously unedited. This is just the raw footage that I'm showing you right now. Because saying there's so much that I want to get in the plant, but I have to discipline myself to develop the infrastructure first, and that's very true. I mean, as I'm going along, there are a lot of things that are on my list of things to do further on down the road, and I'm just a ways away from it. Of course, getting ducks part of the plan. We're going to have a couple of ducks to patrol the garden, take care of the slugs and the snails, and hopefully. If I can feed them the weeds that I want them to eat now, and they can get used to eating the weeds that I want them to eat now, whenever they're loose in the garden, their first instinct is going to be, I'm going to eat the bugs because I've been told I can eat the bugs and they're good. And I've been giving these particular plants to eat, and I know what these plants taste like. I'm going to eat these, and then if there's none of these, maybe I'll try something else. Sassafras Red says, if y'all haven't heard the jewel of opar, you need this green in your life. Lasts through the heat and tastes great. Reseeds up here in 6. Wow. Marie says I keep on changing my mind and getting more complicated every time. I'm not changing my mind. I'm just adding things on as we go along. I could just sit around and eat walking onions and garlic and canna lily roots all day long, but I think we're going to need a little bit more than just those things to eat. So some duck eggs would be pretty nice. These laying hens are going to put out about 300 to 340 eggs each. So 2 or 3 ducks in the yard are going to be all the eggs I need. And then, of course, we can add more in the future if necessary. I think 2 is enough for the size that we have to work with. And if it's not, if I need to add more ducks, then I can always add more ducks. And if 2 is not too many, then I can add more ducks. If 2 is too many, I can always eat one. Let's see. Vicky saying, Lisa, finally got someone to set up my planting bench. It bites. I can maneuver only with a walker. Oh, no. That's rough because, yeah, if you don't have mobility, it's hard to get these things done. Let's see. You use duckweed, pun intended for ducks, aka limna minor. Yeah, high in nutrients, more than spinach. Eventually, we're going to get some. I didn't get any in this water sample. I got some moss, some aquatic moss, and of course, looks like some thread algae, which is perfect. That's exactly what I needed. This is the kind of stuff that the freshwater shrimp will eat. So I get my little shrimp tanks inoculated with that. That's part of the feeder animals that will feed everything else. We get those, some mosquito fish in the duck pond. The ducks aren't going to eat all the mosquito fish. And then I can move adult mosquito fish into the shrimp tanks as needed to control mosquitoes, remove them whenever it's necessary for the baby shrimp to multiply so that the mosquito fish don't eat the baby shrimp, or just to keep the population stable, right? Just to keep the population stable in case there's more of those than I can eat or feed to other fish at the moment. So there's always a possibility of overabundance, which would be a problem, but it won't be a bad problem. That's what you call a good problem. We got these manifolds here for running the aerator pump. Of course, I showed you that solar panel and the 12-volt batteries that will operate that aerator pump. So we always have a way to keep that the shrimp tanks aerated. The way we're going to set up the duck pond whenever I finally get it done will be with a Venturi tube that'll air oxygenate the water every time we open up the release valve to release some of the water out of the bottom. I'm thinking about setting up so we have 2 ways that water can go. One way will be out to the garden, so it'll immediately come out. The place where I have it set up, I don't have this video out of the camera yet, so I've got a video where I'm building the berm. And I start out by building a turf wall, and then we backfill with the earth and build it up to bring it up off the ground. So now whenever the duck pond goes in there, into that spot out there, I'll have a valve on the side that I open up, and it'll pull the sludge off the bottom of the pond and either dump it out there in the garden where the corn is, the peas, and everything else is. And then it can intersect with the rest of the garden plantings out back. Or I can open up a separate valve to send it up here to the front garden instead. So depending upon which way I want to send that water, I can send it up to the front and charge up one of the big pools up here with it, or I can send it out to the back. But either way, I've got this area where I can capture and put my water in first, and it's already elevated. It's ready to go, and it'll have mosquito fish in it. So imagine mosquito fish getting flushed out to the pond where I'm growing my catfish or perch or what have you. We'll be circulating the water over there and feeding them at the same time. Oh no. Yeah, Scarecrow says of mosquito fish. Here we go. Mosquito fish will eat the baby shrimp. Even guppies eat them. No fish with the tips, less mesh separation. Yeah. So the idea is If I want to raise baby shrimp in a tank, no mosquito fish. But having them in a separate tank where I can take one or two and go, okay, patrol the mosquitoes, get rid of the mosquitoes, and then we pull them back out and we carry on. And we can always put up that mesh separation between the baby shrimp and the mosquito fish, because the mosquito larvae will be up in the upper area of the water, and the shrimp babies will be on the bottom. Vicky's saying, what I need is some grunt labor so I can play Tom Sawyer supervising the whitewashing of the fence. Need to find a way for people to get in touch with you, Vicky. There's a lot of people that may need a place to be and something to do with themselves. Ken Jennings says, hey, y'all. Hey, Ken. You think the shrimp babies might eat the mosquito larvae? Well, if that's the case, I don't need to put mosquito fish in there with the shrimp. I've thought about making a screen top on these 27-gallon totes. You know, they have the lid that snaps in place. I can cut a window out in that so that the sunlight can shine through and make the algae grow on the inside. And then the screen will stop the mosquitoes from going and landing in there and laying their eggs. That might be a thing to do also. Heterodox says, first black swallowtail of the season, loads of small blue Cupido minimus. Nice. Nice. We're starting to get some butterflies here, but not a whole lot of really fancy ones yet. We'll see if I can get that milkweed colony established. We might actually get some monarchs to come around. That'll be fun. All right. So we had, let's see, these, let's move that from the studio. So we had these ducklings show up. That distracted us, but we got back on track, of course, and went out to go collect this water. And I think we can go ahead and go here.
That's how my trash bag right here.
So here we are. They call this one Wagon Wheel Pond, and you can tell from all the little tadpoles down there, just thousands and thousands of them right there at the edge, that we've got an ecosystem that's not got a whole lot of toxic waste and stuff like that. The farms wouldn't be able to survive in there, but there's not a whole lot of algae here either. So the kind of microbiome that I'm looking to collect is not here. I don't know what.
All right, so this is the first pond that we visited on our way down when we went to go pick up our water sample, and you can tell from looking at it, it's healthy water because you got just tons and tons of tadpoles in the shallows there. But there's not really any algae growth. You might see a little bit of dead stuff there at the bottom of this particular pond, but it's not green. It's not growing. Look at all that white sand there at the bottom. I mean, this is a really well-maintained pond, and they have this set up as a catch and release pond. It's one of the first things that you run into as you're heading down the path. Apparently, you're allowed to capture any catfish or bluegills or bass or whatever you can catch in here, but you have to let them go. You can't harvest them.
What's keeping the algae out of this pond? They might have put some barley straw in there to clear it up a bit.
Looks like there's last year's algae at the bottom.
John says, frogs love mosquitoes. Yeah, frogs will eat them too.
Green growing. So we're going to move on. This is one of the places where they permit catch and release fishing, which is just silly, but that's what we do.
Oh, you almost listed something out there. You got the wind blowing and you got the ringlets.
Yeah. I saw turtles. So you catch the fish and you release them so the turtles can eat them. I guess that's the logic that these conservationists who know nothing about conservationists have. So I understand, though. There could be potentially a lot of people coming here. This is fairly close to the parking lot, an easy hike.
And a picnic bench
And
right there.
there's a little picnic bench there. Yeah. On home, yeah. Look, it's just like home. They've got cardinals playing around here too.
All right, so we had a bird come do a flyby. This is the first pond that we went to, and it just didn't have the algae that we were looking for. So we had to keep on hiking. Let me go ahead and pull this out. Let's move that. Let's see. This is kind of like a scrapbook, right? In action. Yeah. Some of the scenes we shoot, we kind of set up for. This is a shot where we found some trash on the side of the trail heading down, and decided to take a moment to pick it up. We always bring trash bags with us when we go out, because we always find trash. And in this particular case, we found a bunch of aluminum cans. They're selling for 60 cents a pound now for aluminum cans. So, hey, if you happen to be out there in the wilderness and you happen to see some of this trash lying around, pick it up, bring it into town. You can sell it, get some money for it.
Yeah, people should come up here for like cans. Just saying. Seems to be the theme.
You saw another one, didn't you?
Behind you. Yep. Another energy drink, I think. Yeah. Oh.
More? Yeah, they're paying like 60 cents a can for, or 60 cents a pound for aluminum cans. You have 4 aluminum cans in a matter of a couple of minutes to get there. Oh, well, that one's not aluminum over there, but I see. What is that? Quick Trip cup? Yeah, plastic. Jeez. Yeah, if you're gonna come out here and litter, at least drop the aluminum can so we can get paid for picking up your garbage for you. Thanks, appreciate it. All right, Mary found some wild growing Whittier mushrooms over there off the trail. It's not really one that I'm growing. It's, you can get them at the Chinese store. Black fungus is what they label them as. I'm more interested in the ones that are a bit tastier. All right, let me see here. Yeah, we stopped by the Daylight Donuts on the way in. And there's Mary picking up trash. All right. Oh yeah. So here, yeah, this is an orange peel right there on the trail. That's
right
not
there on the trail.
That's an orange peel. We'll catch it before it gets away. Orange peel.
And somebody drops an orange peel on the side of the trail. None of the native little decomposers eat that. There's nothing on the trail that'll eat it. So it was about 3 or 4 days there, just sitting there. Waiting for something to come along that was going to take an interest in it. There's nothing going to take an interest in it up there. It's not a native fruit. Nothing up there knows how to eat it. They just look at it and go, "Ooh, it smells funny," and they leave it alone. The heterodox is saying, "Best scent I've ever encountered. New experience. 3-year-old plant flowered this year." That's the Ribes aureus, the golden currant. We don't have any golden currants yet. We've got some King Henry. I think they're called King Henry the Seventh. They're technically a black currant, but they're bluish, which is kind of groovy. We've got 4 of those growing. They're growing pretty good, but they haven't flowered yet. There we go. Vicky saying, okay, guys. Vicky saying, if I can get good labor willing to live on the far side of Nevermore for a share of the crops, sharecroppers, tools, seeds, and living quarters, I would be very interested. So that's a lot of people are going to need a place to stay. They're going to need food to eat and something to keep themselves occupied with. That'll be good. Yeah, it's the good part that's hard to get a hold of. For a while there, I was thinking maybe we'd have somebody that would come in and take up residence here and keep an eye on this place and free me up to go do something like help out with Vicky's spread. Scarecrow says, my Ribes American cuttings are a poppin'. Awesome. Yeah, currants are at one time, if you had any sort of purple candy, it was currant flavor. But back in, I guess it was the 1950s or so. Let me go ahead and remove this one and find the next video in the sequence. Back in the 1950s or so, what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. Let me minimize the screen though, because it's too big for me. It's too big for me. All right, so back there in the 1950s, jeez, what am I doing? Close that window. I'm going to share this one. The logging industry was having some issues. There we go. Pause that thing. So back in the 1950s, the logging industry was having issues with a fungus that was jumping off of the currents and getting into pines. And of course, they wanted to harvest the pines, and with this fungus attacking the pines, it lived in the currents. They said, "Oh, the currents are bad. Get rid of the currents," and they banned currents in the United States for a considerable amount of time. Of course, now you can buy currants, so you can plant currants again. But for a while there, you couldn't get and plant currants in the United States, and so they shifted the flavor of purple candy from currant flavor to grape flavor in the United States, whereas in Europe it remained currant flavored. That's our little interesting historical tidbit for the day. Only one Ribes nigrum, others died to the need pollinators. Off the top of my head, I don't recall. I can look it up real quick. Let's see, Ribes. Are they self-poll? Well, let me see. According to the University of Minnesota, growing currants and gooseberries in the home garden. Yep. All right, let's see here. Let me share that. Let's see. Share that screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. According to University of Minnesota Extension, growing currants and gooseberries in the home garden. I read the quick facts here. Currants and gooseberries grow in the full sun, blah, 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 3 feet apart. Most currants and gooseberries are self-fertile. One variety will set fruit on its own. There you go. Expect to get fruit 1 to 3 years after planting. There we go. That's the intel from the University of Minnesota. So there you go. There's the answer. I didn't know, and now I know. Will I remember it tomorrow? I don't know. So good chance that they will. Good chance that they're going to be just fine. Vicky has got it going on. 100 acres in northwest Arkansas. Nice territory. It's a little below Bull Shoals Lake. Very, very pretty country, Ozarks there. So basically it's on the other side of the hill from us. The Ozarks are one great big eroded plateau, and we're on the western side here in Oklahoma. She'll be over there on the eastern side of it. All right, so where was I at? Oh, yeah. Right there. That's where I was at. And Mary got us these silly little satchel sack things to carry around instead of backpacks. I don't know what to think of it.
So at this point, the trail cuts across a seasonal stream. This stream bed keep on going down. So we're going to go off the trail and follow on. Okay, this always happens when I'm out shooting somewhere in nature. Always happens. I get down there, I get started talking, and all of a sudden the wind picks up. So the setup here is we're coming across this trail, heading down the mountain. We're looking for a good stream to collect water, or not a good stream, but a good pond to collect water from. And the reason we're up here collecting the water, for the people who are tuning in late,
The reason we're up here on this mountain collecting water is because up there on the mountain, there is no runoff from anywhere other than the mountain getting into it. So there's no agricultural waste. There's nothing. Everything that goes in there is going to be pretty much clean and pesticide free, chemical manufacture and process free. It's going to be good, clear water, or at least it's going to be free of chemicals that have been introduced to the environment. But the first pond we went to wasn't great, so we're on our way down to another one. Hopefully, it'll have what I'm looking for in it. And we cut across this place where a stream has washed out the trail, which is not a problem. The trail continues on the other side and eventually goes to where I'm trying to get to. But I decided that we're going to go down this particular stream instead of following the trail. Whereas Mary decides that she's going to go off the other way.
What happened to your stick?
I left in the truck.
I didn't want the giant purple backpack, Mary. It's not manly. Like the tiger stripe thing is, right?
Will you take the camera with me?
So at the moment here, I'm going and I'm looking and deciding whether or not I want to try carrying the camera handheld and shooting some video while I'm going down the rocks. And eventually I do decide to do it. So I come back and I get the camera. Oh, there we go. Get the camera. Mary's taking off on the trail by herself. She's going around on the trail, and I'm going to...
So Mary is taking the trail that goes out and around and down to the other side of the pond that I'm heading for, and I'm taking the rockier, more directly. Here we go. Enjoying the scenery here. Mostly sandstone rocks here. All right. And pool, nothing in it. Maybe. Nice place to find tadpoles and salamanders, but I don't see any at the moment. Little log crossing over the stream. This is a good place to find rattlesnakes and copperheads. So you know, all these little rocks, a good chance to find snakes under them if you flip them over. There's a nice little pool. Yeah. A little bit later in the year, if this one's still full, it'll be full of mosquitoes. Eek. Hopefully we have frogs out by then. I can do something about that. All right. I know there's trails.
Yeah, right there. The rock that I stepped on was a little bit looser than I anticipated. It started to move under my foot a bit, so I had to catch myself. But you'll find these little dry stream beds all over the place in the Ozarks. You know, over there on the other side of the hill too, on the eastern side where Vicky's at, you'll find these all over the place too. And they capture and hold water, and the water will sink down and form these little seasonal pools and stuff like that. It's really quite nice. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to dam some of those up. And remember, this is just whenever the water is running off of the hill. It's not a navigable waterway or anything like that. So it's damming those up and creating little ponds going down the hillside is not something that will cause any problems. All legal is what I'm trying to get at. There you go. But this is the Turkey Mountain Wilderness area here in the Tulsa area.
I'd rather go this way. Now, as summer picks up, the area above this little stream washout will be full of spider webs, but right now it's pretty clear.
There's like one or two here and there. It's too early for them. All right. See this little break here. Greenbrier. Yeah, I got some tender shoot here. Okay, you notice that this particular greenbrier, the Smilex I'm looking at here, and this may not be the best freeze frame of it, but the that Smilex greenbrier that I'm looking at, whenever I touch the top of it, there's a spot that somebody had already gotten a shoot off of. And that break just behind me on the way down that stream, there's a reason why I follow these streams, because these are highways for deer. And this tells me that there's one that's been through here, but he hasn't been through here at least today, and probably not within the past 2 or 3 days. Otherwise, that greenbrier would have been nibbled off. But instead of the deer eating it, I'm getting ready to eat it. So here we go. So greenbrier plant, tender shoots early in the spring. Very good. You want to get them before they turn tough. Yum, yum, yum. See, there's some more right there. You see the little vine tendrils there. All right. Not only do you see the little vine tendrils that are sticking out, but you'll notice that the rest of the plant that goes up has terminating buds up there that are obviously something has trimmed those off. That's deer action. The deer have been getting those. So if you're walking a trail and you manage to find this, and you're not going to eat it yourself, you can keep an eye out, and you walk the trail the second day, third day, whatever, you'll be able to look and see which ones have been nibbled on. That's a clear indication that the deer are using that particular path. It'll help you home in on where they're at. So the day comes that you need to go get some meat, instead of spending the entire day doing, you just go to where the deer are, get your deer, and go home. Yeah. So this is food, and it's free. And this is a disturbing sight. We'll take a look. So I've got a little pond here, but it's hasn't been fed much. We're going through the greenbriers right now. A little bit later on in the year, this would be an impossible trip because of those briars. Okay, so this little trail that we're walking along right there in front of you, can see the grass on the left, grass on the right, those little bare strip down the middle. That bare strip, that track there, is a deer path. That's not a trail that people have made. That's a deer track, and it goes around the side of this little catchment pond here. Here we go. Ooh, and guys, this is one of Green Country Agroforestry's little nursery plants right here. Of course, this one is growing wild. It's a Woodland Violet. Isn't that pretty? Woodland Violet in its natural setting. Of course, we have these. Should be available on the website before too long. Ooh, look what I found. Look what I found. It's already opened up. These ferns early in the spring have little tiny fiddleheads that come up. It looks like the scroll on the head of a fiddle. They come up, and those are tender and also very tasty. But these have already opened. This one's almost done opening right there. And once they open up, you don't eat them. But whenever they're just coming up early in the spring, they're edible. Nice find. All right, ostrich fern, yay! So we go out there and have a look at that pond. But let's see, and Mary's. Yeah. Of course, with a little greenbrier to catch you up there. Here we go. So we found this spot here. All right. Now let's pause that real quick, and you'll notice that there's a little little inlet coming in here, and there's another little chute there. You guys can't see my mouse pointer, can you? All right, hang on. Let me get. That's too much. All right, so let's see. There we go. So up here, there's a little inlet, and then there's another one down here, down there. So this is where the water comes in. This little inlet right here. This is where the water comes in from the slope up above. The spot here on the side, right there, that little inlet, I get over there and I talk about that for a minute. But there's burrows that are in the hillside right there, and that's where, from the size of it, probably nutria is making its living. Nutria is kind of like a muskrat, only bigger. All right, it's an aquatic gopher, so to speak. They like to tunnel and they like the water, like to get in there, crayfish, fish, whatever they can get. Their snails, they'll eat little snails out of the water. Furry little critter. And apparently, one of the jobs you can get here in Oklahoma now is hunting and trapping nutria along all the levees, because guess what? Since they like to burrow into things, they're burrowing into the levees along the river system and undermining them and damaging them. So they'll pay $5 a tail for nutria tails here in Oklahoma right now if you wanted to pick up a little side action. Of course, they just want the tail. They don't want the hide. They don't want the fur. They don't want the meat. So, you know, there's meat in your soup kettle and some hides to do something with, and you get $5 a tail. I figure that's not too bad if you wanted that kind of a job. Of course, there are also some some folks out there that'll pay you to ride horses around here too. So there you go. You can actually get paid to go ride horses, because people buy them and they have to stable them and they have to be exercised, and whoever's got the land doesn't necessarily have all the time to exercise every one of those horses. So kids that want to have the experience of riding horses can wrangle a job exercising horses. And as long as you're willing to do a little extra work, mucking at the stables and carrying feed and water and stuff like that, you'll even pick up a little bit of a side income from it. Heterodox saying, I have woodland violets on a prairie floor where I dropped a wheelbarrow full of wood chips 3 years ago. A couple of morels last 2 years. Weird, but cool. That is awesome news. So you've got a good healthy woodland biome that you're developing there. And those violets are edible. The leaves are edible early in the spring. The flowers are edible, and there's some medicinal purposes to the roots as well. Yeah. Russian troops are eating nutria, and nutria, yep, they cook up real good. About like rabbit, I'd imagine. I haven't had them, but they're a mammal, aquatic environment. I don't know. Beaver are more like a beef, I've heard. I don't know what nutria tastes like. Can't be bad. They just can't be. A good sized pond. I see some aquatic plants. Aquatic plants is part of what we're looking for. Not lemna though. There wasn't any duckweed in here. I have seen it growing
right down there, we got a little bit of green algae. Looks like thread algae maybe. We got thread algae and we got some aquatic plants. That's about what we're looking for. All right. So, and I got a few little fish swimming around in there. So this is a healthy aquatic environment that has no pumps, no filters, no aerators, nothing. It's fed by rainwater and built by beavers. Let me try that again. So this is a healthy aquatic environment. It's got no pumps, no aerators, no filters. Little fish swimming around right down there. It's fed by rainwater and built by beavers. Right here, nestled in the midst of the mountains. So here we go. Let's get in. Yeah, I'm going to collect here.
They're going to get in close. You can see some of that moss there. A little bit of aquatic plants, algae. There's a little bit more right up there. There's a small sample close to the bank that I can probably get a hold of. So we're going to get a little sample of biological activity from here. There we go. A little bio sample. And probably better. Huh? And to set up the phone so it wouldn't fall in the water there. There we go.
Want to go stick more in the bird bath?
There's a little frog.
Get him.
I'm not going to get him. I'm just going to get some of this. So we might rescue some of those tadpoles before they get eaten. A little bit of algae, a little bit of water.
Jason's groupie.
There we go.
Little green hairs. We're
gonna leave the other aquatic plant that's there.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that all the water you're gonna get?
That's all we need.
Oh. What were some of the floating plants?
I don't need those.
Might go find one close to the shore.
I don't need those. You see the little spot where the crayfish came up and deposited their mud from building their little houses underground? A little crayfish hole. Anyway. All right, that's about enough of that. Get that out of here before it makes me all silly. Hey, there's a Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla saying, "What? I'll be watching you. How are you? Looks pretty good. Let's see, weather, Laurie. I shot a bunch of video. I don't know if I'm gonna actually edit it and make a regular video out of it, if I'm gonna work it into something. So I figure I'd just go ahead and show it to you while we're sitting around here chatting. So this is what I was talking about. Well, this stuff here. Oh wow. So since I've got a green screen, you can't see, but if you look right there, there's that aquatic snail crawling up the side of the container there. He decided to come on out. So that tells me that he's not liking it in the water right now. So we probably need to get it aerated. But this particular sample is full of all those little water fleas, and of course got the thread algae and all that other fun stuff. So this is going to go into a 27-gallon tote probably tomorrow, depending. I need to do some more video shooting tomorrow on the corn patch. That'll be the next video we release. I believe I'll drop it on Monday. But going to do some shooting in the corn patch if the weather will permit me to. It needs to be thinned. So hopefully the corn planting video is going to also include the thinning of the young corn shoots after they've come up, a few days after they got started. It's going to have a little bit of how we go about fertilizing everything, setting everything up, planting it by hand, and the overall setup. Yeah, the water's invisible because of the green screen. So the next video I'm putting out, we're going to show you how we go about planting corn. Of course, it's going to be a multi-layered planting. So we're going to use some of the same ideas behind a natural forest system, natural forest layers. To get on there. There you go. Let's see. I'm going to show you natural forest layers, and we're going to use a planting of corn, which is an annual, and simulate that sort of situation with the corn serving as the canopy layer, and then we'll have beans being a vining layer, and then underneath that we've got our clover for a ground cover, and I've even got an intermediate, this is actually an herbaceous layer going on with some safflower seed that we sow in there as well. So we have ground cover, an herbaceous layer, a canopy, and a vine all at the same time, and this is the corn patch. So, yeah. Keith says, hiya and welcome. Let's see. My corn patch is loaded with comfrey. That is an opportunity. Well, I mean, that's an opportunity for some chop and drop. Major part of my infrastructure development, Vicky's saying, is put into ponds and swales for permaculture water management. I want to develop a permaculture food forest with patches of annual. That's pretty much what we've got going on here, although it's on a much smaller scale. Annuals are part of the overall arrangement. All right, we have perennials. Meow. Does anybody want a cat? I've got a cat here. Would anybody like a kitty? Meow. Yes, because your mama went away and abandoned you and left you here with me, and now you have nobody but me for company. That's right. Yeah. You ever going to catch a mouse? I'm just curious. I mean, are you actually going to do any of the work that we pay you for? Oh, you want to be affectionate. See, we don't pay you to be affectionate. We pay you to catch mice and rats, and snakes and stuff. That's right. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get you off of my shoulder. She's up there now. So, cats. Go figure. Kitty? Kitty. No. Don't grab the green screen and drop it on the floor. Oh, my goodness. Well, I've got my work cut out for me today. Oh. But right there. Ponds, swales for permaculture water management. I mean, do your earthworks ahead of time. Get your water on there. If you don't have water, you don't have anything. Heterodox says, got the clover. Yay. Maize corn is a heavy feeder. That's why it's on top of the septic drain system. And I'm planting lots and lots and lots of leguminous plants around it. So I can't grow anything right there close to the ground as an edible for me, but I can grow clover. And I can do fun things like, let the bees feed on the clover flowers and get nectar from the clover flowers. That's good. And meanwhile, that's going to feed the corn. So the corn's going to come up. Safflower is mainly going to be grown for the seeds to feed to the finches and the doves and everything. The doves love safflower, as I've discovered. They're absolutely nuts for it. Heterodox has been planting it for 5 years. Finally coming around. Been planting the clover for 5 years. I know exactly what that's like. Every time I got bare soil, I was like, okay, I'm going to put clover seed on it. I'm going to put clover seed on it. Eventually, we're going to get some clover, right? And then occasionally some will pop up here and there, and then slowly it begins to spread and fill out the space. It takes a while to get a good mat of clover everywhere you want to walk, right? Walkways, if they're not covered in wood chips with trenches filled with the wood chips to keep water on the ground, there's going to be clover on it. And where there's not clover, there's strawberries. When not strawberries, there's violets. All that good stuff. And of course, safflowers. If you're growing these things, there's a couple things you need to know about safflowers. There's related to sunflowers. So you can grow either the mammoth sunflowers for the really big ones, you get them way up here. This is like understory tree type stuff. And you can grow the smaller ones, the black oil sunflowers, which are going to be more shrub height. All right. So black oil sunflowers could be like a little shrub type plant for spacing, right? For vertical spacing. Grow safflower under that, they're a little bit shorter. They're about waist height. All right. So waist height and then a little bit higher. You've got sunflower, safflower grown together. You can have your clover at the bottom of that for ground cover. All right. All this stuff, you put it together for feed for your birds because you want to, kitty. you want to attract those wild birds to be there in your property, build their nests, and take care of your insect problems for you. Problem is, if you're maintaining a bird feeder, you might have issues with squirrels. Squirrels don't like safflower seed. It tastes bitter to them. They don't like it. Now, you and I, we can get our oil press out and we can press the safflowers and get the seed oil out of that. We use that seed oil for making things like salad oil, right? We make our own vinegar out of the pears, make some pear cider. Pear cider turns to vinegar. We mix the vinegar with the seed oil that we press from the safflower, and lo and behold, we've got salad dressing. All right. Now we've got press cake that has all the protein from the safflower in it, and it's got to smell. The squirrels don't like it, so you can pack that press cake into your bird feeder, or you can use it as feed for your doves. If you're growing doves or pigeons, they love it, absolutely love it, and it'll keep the squirrels out of your feeder. Is what I'm trying to say. All right. Let's see. Let's see. And here's Scarecrow saying, if you plant field peas like they do as a winter cover crops, you fix nitrogen and have seed for ducks. I actually have field peas that I'm planting that we'll be putting in sort of later on in the season. I've got sweet peas. I got sweet peas with the corn right now. And then as the sweet peas are coming out here, probably June, July or so, we go ahead and put the field peas in. And those field peas, really? Are you having a moment? Do you want to tell them all about it? Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Tell them all about it. Tell them all about it. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Huh? Really? Yeah. She's saying when I was young, I didn't get a trip to the vet, and so therefore I'm interested in having kittens sometime in the future. Yeah. Go on with you. It's that time of month. I'll tell you what. I'll be ready to take my videos sessions for Wednesday nights outside soon enough. So the kind of field peas I've got are vining. I burbanked some and wound up with a set that like to grow as vines. So they come in and grow up the corn stalks later on. So I have corn stalks acting as the trellis for vining peas. A dove a day keeps the grocer away. Is that what they say? Yeah, absolutely. Grow your own feed. So we've got let's see, probably about 500 corn plants altogether after I do the thinning. And these are native corn, field corn. If I wind up needing a little bit of extra feed for the ducks, for the 2 ducks that we've got in the middle of the winter and when they don't have enough bugs, then I can always give them a little bit of that corn. We can crush it up. I'll go ahead and get a mill and crush it. Although I don't know if I want to try. I might try nixtamalizing it before we crush it up and hand it to the duckies to see how they like it. Possibly, we'll see. Vicky said, I'm not very interested in field peas, but soup peas. Well, no, we're talking about field peas. We're also talking about cow peas or black-eyed peas. You could have crowder peas, zipper creams, any number of those little red peas, any number of those sorts of peas, and they're perfectly good in soups and stews and everything else. You could also try one of those vining peas like Lincoln's or something like that. I don't know. I kind of like these black-eyed peas that I've got. Oh dear. Here's a question. Do you like sorghum Sudan grass? I like sorghum. I don't like all of the members of that particular family of grasses. We have one called Johnson grass here, which was imported from Turkey. Late 1920s, 30s, somewhere around there. It was originally imported as a means of controlling erosion along the Alabama River, and then it spread. And then a fellow by the name of Johnson said, hey, we can use this as feed for cattle. And it spread even further. Of course, you know what else you can use as feed for cattle? You can use kudzu as feed for cattle. Another example of one of those things that got imported, got started, took over, and now we all kind of curse it a little bit. It's like, it's Johnson grass. What are you going to do with all this Johnson grass? But we've got a patch over here on the other side of us, to the north of us, the direction I'm facing at the moment, on the other side of the old KD rail line, which they've turned into a bike path. But there's a field out there that's probably about maybe 2 acres or so. And it's full of Johnson grass. Every year, full of Johnson grass. Somebody has to come out and mow it. And they don't really know who it is exactly that owns the property and who's supposed to take care of it. But the parks department goes out there and they mow it. So we thought we might get a wild hare, scrape up together a little bit of cash, and buy some materials to make signs and post signs all the way around the field, and maybe put a little post and chain sort of perimeter around it that say Charles Page Memorial, because Charles Page is the founder of Sand Springs right down the road here. This was Charles Page Memorial Goldfinch Sanctuary. we'll set up a little pergola in the middle of it and plant some sorghum bicolor all around there. So we'll have a sorghum producing millet grain, which the little migratory birds are going to love, which we can also take and harvest and use for feed for ducks and geese and other birds around here. I want to look at what Scarver was saying here. Plant that up, and people come out there and sit in the pergola and have their tea and watch the songbirds, and they don't mow it anymore. Unless, of course, you want to cut it for the molasses. That's the thought. So, Scarecrow says, Desmanthus illinoisis is a nitrogen fixture that has a decent quantity of seeds for birds. Illinois bundle flower. Hey, I'm gonna go check that out right now. I sure as heck am. Can I? This man, there it is. They don't have a picture of it. All right. They don't have a picture of it. How dare they? Let's share the screen here. So this is one of my favorite websites right here, Plants for a Future. pfaf.com. And it says prairie mimosa, Illinois bundle flower. So it's going to be an interesting looking plant. Let's see if I can find a picture of it somewhere. It's a member of the Fabaceae or Leguminosae family. In other words, it's a nitrogen fixture. Any Fabaceae, that's always nitrogen fixtures. USDA hardiness 4 to 8, so we could grow it here too. Likes prairies, riverbanks, and fields, ditches, streams, bottoms of fields, riversides, low areas, often in clay soils. Will grow from North America, Ohio to North Dakota, New Mexico to Mississippi, so that's wide range. Hey, look at that. 4 out of 5 for inevitability rating. That's not bad. Suitable for light, sandy, heavy soil, anything. Prefers well-drained soil, but can grow in heavy clay soil. So, Texas growers, if you're zone 8 or so. Suitable pH, mildly acid, neutral, and basic, mildly alkaline soils. Cannot grow in the shade. It prefers moist soil. So if you got someplace that stays moist and gets plenty of sunshine, that might be a thing for you. The seed cooked, rich in protein, but without much flavor. The seed pods are about 25 millimeters long, containing 3 to 5 small seeds. They're freely born in the plant's native environment, but will have to be very freely produced in this country if it's going to be a worthwhile crop. So that's just a interesting little side note. The birds can harvest that without any problem, right? There we go. According to Arrowwood, Desmanthus illinoisis is a perennial weed legume growing from 1/3 to 1 meter tall, so 2 foot to about 2 foot on the average. Has fern-like leaf branches and produces NN-DMT in its root bark. Oh. Psychoactive chemical in the tryptamine family. Oh no. Most of these herbals that are like that, the actual experience is going to be woefully disappointing. Vicky's saying sorghum comes in grain and syrup varieties with a few that produce both. If you're looking for one that produces both, it's called sorghum bicolor. Sorghum bicolor will produce both. So you could cut it for the grass and get the syrup, get the sugar out of it, and then let it go to seed and get the grain. So you could get 2 crops out of it a year, maybe 3 or 4, depending upon how warm you get and how much water you get. But sorghum all the varieties of sorghum, including the one that's not really a whole lot of use for anything, Johnson grass that we've got, can survive droughts and they can survive flooding. They're a perennial. They grow back from the roots. They also self-seed. Very easy to take care of. Run a disc harrow through your field, and you've refreshed your crop. That's all you got to do. If you turn it during the winter and roots to the sky, then you're going to kill some off. She gild better than anyberry. Scarecrow says, "Can I grow a crop?" Oh, other pronunciation of the letter A. Gravel soil. I've got seed stashed somewhere around here, and live plants just holler at me. Yeah. That your nitrogen fixtures have a lot easier time growing in gravel and growing in poor soil and stuff like that. So, anywho, so we got to show you some pictures of the new duckies. Hopefully, we'll have some better footage here in the next couple of days and weeks. I've got a ton of footage to go through. I just set the camera on them and let the camera run while I went out and ran errands. Tomorrow, if the weather permits me, I'll let them come out to the yard and do a little bit of foraging outside, and maybe we'll have some footage of that too. But anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight. As always, if you found the video informative or entertaining, you know what to do. I will catch you all next time, and of course, I've got to see if I can find some pictures of that interesting little Illinois bundle flower. Heterodox has got another one, Viburnum lintago. Sounds like lentils. Anyway, as always, you know what to do. I will catch you next time.